So, MLM travel agencies, let's talk about them. If you're watching this, I'm guessing that you either have somebody talking to you about joining their MLM host travel agency, or you've recently signed up for one and you're thinking, oh no, did I make a mistake? Am I doing the right thing? Or maybe you're just interested in becoming a travel agent and you're at the very beginning of your journey, starting to compare these different host travel agencies and figure out which one's gonna be best for you. Hi, by the way, my name is Brittany. I'm the founder of Travel Agent Haven. I've been a travel agent myself since 2020. I've been working in the travel space officially since 2017, and since 2020, I've helped a team of travel agents sell over $6 million in travel. So I want to be really clear that I'm not talking about MLM or affiliate commissions, that is just travel. So if this is something that you're interested in or concerned about, or that you just want to be informed about, this is the video to start with, because I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about MLM travel agencies. Let's get into it. Okay, so first we gotta take a step backwards. What is a host travel agency? You might have heard me mention that already. I'm going to give you a very basic definition because we're not focusing on that for this specific video, but I will link another video both in the description and on this video where if you are learning about host travel agencies and you do want to learn more about that, you can. But on this video, I'm focusing specifically on MLM host travel agencies. But basically, a host travel agency is like a franchise. Instead of going out and getting your own certifications, building your own travel agency from scratch, building your own relationships with all these different hotel chains, tour companies, and things like that, a host travel agency allows you to buy in to whatever they've got going on. So one really common question I get is, are these travel agencies like legit or a scam when they're looking through them because they're thinking, oh, they want me to pay like 40, 60, 80 or whatever dollars a month? Is that legit? And it totally is legit when it comes to a host travel agency, and here's why. You're not just getting access to those certifications, which that alone is going to save you a lot of money, time, and stress, versus having to go and get those yourself. And what I'm talking about here is your IATA, your CLIA, your ARC. I'll get deeper into these in another video, but for here and now, I'm just going to say you do need them. You do need to have IATA, CLIA, and all that. And then possibly a consortia. So if you are part of a bigger group of host travel agencies, you get more resources and support, and sometimes even bonus commissions. So it is a good idea to start with a host travel agency, especially because out of all the different ways to become a travel agent, and I do dive more into each path on my channel, it is the way with the least amount of risk, it's the quickest to start with, and it is the cheapest. And also, it's just the most feasible for most people. But let's compare this to driving a cab for a second. Very expensive and time consuming to start your own cab driving business, right? You have to buy the car, you have to maybe get a wrapper on the car, you have to get branding, you have to get business cards printed, you have to install the mile counter thingy, you have to have all this stuff set up, and then you also have to have a website and marketing, and then you have to do licensing in the city you're in. So you have all this different stuff you have to do when you're starting from scratch. So when you go to a travel host agency, you can think of it like a driver going with Uber instead. You're an independent contractor, so nobody tells you when or how or with whom to work. And because you do get to choose, you get to pick. Are you going to book flights or not? Are you going to focus on all-inclusives or cruises? Are you going to work with groups only? Or are you going to focus on honeymooners and destination weddings? You get to choose. And because you get so much flexibility, and because it is cheaper, and because you often do get errors and omissions insurance and other things that are covered by the host travel agency, it is the best option for, I would dare to say, 98 to 99% of people who are thinking about becoming a travel agent. So first, I just want to calm your mind that host travel agencies themselves are completely legit, and they're a great way to get started. And I would even say, just for ease of collecting commissions, honestly, that is one of the biggest reasons to be part of a host travel agency, because it is a full-time job in accounts receivable, just going and making sure that you get a certain payment from a trip you booked from X hotel, X tour company. So being able to have other people do that in the background on your behalf as a travel agent is amazing. And that's included in the cut that they keep as an agency, because on top of the fees you pay, they do keep a percentage of every single sale. And usually a good commission split is like you keeping 70 to 80%. That's a really good and standard commission split across most host travel agencies. So basically how a host travel agency works is you book travel with a tour company, hotel, whatever. The guest pays that hotel or whatever directly, but you facilitate the transaction by sending them an affiliated link or by taking their credit card information and typing it in on their behalf. Then you go and register that booking with your host travel agency. The host travel agency follows up with that tour company and they collect the money on your behalf, and then they pay you out with a commission. So every month, week, however often you get paid, you get a payment from the host travel agency, not from the tour company, not from the hotel, and not directly from the client. That's a big no-no. We never want to take money directly from them, because when we do that, we're in tour operator territory. All right, so that's host Host Travel Agency 101. And like I said, I do have another video that goes deeper into that if you are curious about them specifically. And I also have a video about helping you pick your path as a travel agent if you do want to explore the other options. Although I'm going to say Host Travel Agency for most people is the way. But what about MLM host travel agencies? Because that is what this video is mainly about. Let's first start with what an MLM is, because I don't think most people actually know. So you might have heard of network marketing companies or MLM companies like Amway, Avon, Herbalife. And basically what happens is there are always two parts of that business. You have the actual product or service being sold, and then you have the network marketing or the MLM company. MLM stands for multi-level marketing, and what it means is that you don't just get paid for selling the product or the service, but as a network marketer, you also get sold for recruiting people into the MLM. Building a team is what you'll often hear it said, or recruiting. Essentially how it works is that you build an organization, and through everybody who comes into that organization, you get paid some kind of commission when they sign up, and you earn residual income over time, which means like a couple of bucks per person per month. And then you earn certain bonuses when you reach certain ranks based on how many people you have in your organization. That is the Crash Course 101. Now let's talk about why people hate MLMs so much, because I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, it's because of one of three reasons. One, you were burned by an MLM yourself, either as a customer or as a rep. Maybe you've worked with one before. Two, somebody who was burned as a customer or a rep, and so you have that fear. That's probably why you're watching this video. You want to make sure, oh my gosh, am I going to get screwed, or have I been screwed? Has somebody pulled one over on me? Like, I totally get that fear, and that's why I'm hoping to alleviate here and to make sure that you're informed so then you can make the best decision for yourself. And then reason number three is probably just because of a lack of education and because of what you've seen other people be afraid of. It's so normal. We humans are tribal. If we see that other people are afraid of something, even if we don't even know what it is or completely understand it, we're automatically going to be afraid of it too. And actually, I'm going to add a fourth reason, which is very much related to reason number one, and say that there are very legitimate fears and concerns and problems with network marketing and MLM in general as a business model and the industry, and then specifically how that spreads into MLM travel agencies, which I'm going to dive into in this video. And one of those is the fact that the marketing practices for MLM have historically been incredibly misleading, predatory, and just not really beneficial for the person who's actually being marketed to. I'm also going to add to that too that I think a lot of travel marketing has also not been so beneficial. If we're all really introspective and honest with ourselves, how many times have you come across a post on social media, a video on YouTube about a certain place, and then you go there and it's not exactly what it was in the video or in the picture, and it's like the color saturation was turned all the way up. There's this line blurred between someone's lived experience and their artistic expression and then what is actually true. And then there's also just what someone experiences, right? Someone might experience something and say, this is the experience I had. And then you go and it is not the experience you had for a million different reasons. And I think this is the crux of what has happened in MLM and network marketing to make people not trusted. And understandably, I can't tell you how many people I know who are so anti-MLM because of someone they know who has been screwed, basically, financially or otherwise. But I also want to say, on the flip side, MLM isn't terrible for everyone. And in fact, it actually might be an option you want to consider, which I already know I'm going to lose some people over. But one of the reasons I made this YouTube channel is to be a safe place for you to ask and answer questions. And for some people, an MLM travel agency makes sense. For others, it doesn't. And for some people, it will be completely neutral. So what is an MLM travel agency? What actually makes one an MLM? First, you need to think about if the travel agency itself is MLM or if they partner with one. So let me differentiate that. If you as a travel agent, like you signing on to a host travel agency and they tell you as a travel agent, you will both be able to sell travel, which is what every travel agent does, right? We book trips for people, we earn a commission, and that's it, right? And you can make really good money doing that. I've helped my team, as I said in the beginning of this video, sell over $6 million. Actually, that number's higher now. And a few of them have even earned over $1 million in commissions. Okay, so this is real money that we're talking about. You can have a full-time income just being a travel agent. If when you become a travel agent, you are also given the option of recruiting people in, and here's what that looks like. They tell you, hey, why don't you become a travel agent? You come join my team, work with me, work under me is usually what you hear. And then by doing that, you earn a commission, usually when they sign up, and usually some kind of commission residually based on, again, how many people you have recruited, what rank you are, whatever, and then also maybe something from their travel commissions. So that is one way that you would make money. But then the other way that you make money is by recruiting the agents, right? So you actually have two businesses really in one. And honestly, what I wish these agencies would do if they were going to do that is separate out so that you would have a host travel agency and that you could just do that and not do any MLM or affiliate marketing or recruiting or building a team or anything if you don't want to. And then you have the option to do that over here, right? I think they should be completely separate companies, if for no other reason than liability too, because to be a travel agent, you have to go through all these different hoops really to make sure that you're legit. You have to be fully licensed. You have to have a seller of travel license depending on the state you're in or selling to. There's a lot of stuff you need to know. So you could probably tell from my tone, I'm not anti-MLM or MLM host agency. However, I am against marketing that's not transparent or clear. And it's a self-perpetuating problem, right? Because since people already have so much distrust of MLM and network marketing or dislike straight up, then it encourages people to be cagey or not so transparent about whether or not they're doing network marketing. And then because they're cagey, then they just build that distrust, like this negative vicious cycle that keeps on going on and on. And that really sucks. And what also does not help that is reason number 4 I mentioned earlier, which is related to reason number 1, and that is people who recruit people into MLM travel agencies and then don't do anything to help them. That is the core reason I made this brand. I cannot tell you how many DMs I get every single day and week from somebody saying something along these lines. Hi, Brittany. Thank you for your YouTube videos. I'm messaging you because my upline, that's what you call somebody who recruits you into an MLM. My upline does not really understand travel or the travel agent world, and they're just building a team, and I don't want to do that, and I just want to sell travel. Can you help me? And the hard thing is, I have to tell them I actually can't really help you as far as mentoring you because I have my own limitations of what I can do as a travel agent. And even with my own courses and things, it wouldn't be fair for me to have someone that I'm working with who's paid for a course or a program or a membership, and then this other person comes in for free. But I can also understand them not wanting to pay because they just got started. So there's all these different things that cause problems, and it's really just people. It's just people either being intentionally shady, which happens, but I think most of the time with MLM and network marketing specifically, I think it's because people were not taught well. And it's, again, cyclical, right? Because everything is duplicated. And so then as they learn poorly, they perpetuate poorly, and then the cycle continues and continues and continues. So what do you do about it? That's why I made this YouTube channel, right? So that I could answer these questions in a agency neutral way. That's why I don't really talk about my agency much, because I don't want to have my videos come up in the search results for my host agency. I don't want to be hindered by what I can and cannot say and talk about. I would rather be able to speak freely and be honest with you and share my real opinions. And that's scary too, because maybe someone will say something or comment. Like, I totally understand that could happen. But I will say this is where I will have the differing opinion from most of YouTube. I don't think MLMs are all bad. And in fact, there are some pros to joining an MLM host travel agency. So let's get into those. And don't worry, we will be getting into the cons, so stick around. I will cover the cons as well. I want to be fair about this. So let's talk about the pros of MLM host travel agencies. Pro number 1 is that you can get started as a travel agent pretty quickly, but I would also say that's true pretty much no matter which host travel agency you pick. They usually have pretty good systems because they've been around for at least a few years. They've thought through the certifications you actually need to do. They have all that stuff really systematized, so you can usually get that done in a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days if it's more in depth. The MLM host agencies, one other pro is that because they have such a network effect, if you think about it, and I didn't mention this earlier either, but with MLMs and network marketing companies, another big difference between them and traditional companies is how they market. So most marketing is done with an in-house marketing team, right? You have a social media manager, you have someone working in graphic design, you have someone managing advertising and billboards, they're paying for Facebook ads, they're paying for Instagram ads. Network marketing is direct to consumer. You might have heard it called direct sales. It's the same thing, although you could argue travel is direct sales, right? Like travel agent is direct sales in a way. But anyway, the difference is that with network marketing, people hear about the product, which in this case, if you are focusing on building a team, then you actually have 3 products. You have join my team, right? Join the opportunity is what you'll often hear it called. And that is come join me as we build a team, an organization of people. You have the second offer, which is become a travel agent. Here's my affiliated link or code, or let me sign you up. And then when I do that, you earn a commission or something, but they're not not becoming a rep or a network marketer or a salesperson for the organization, right? They are just becoming a travel agent. So you have the opportunity, you have the travel agent license, and then you also have selling travel itself. So really, if you're going to join an MLM host travel agency, you need to be really clear when you're asking questions about what you're signing up for. Because if it's a travel agency that's legit, but they're partnering with a network marketing company, which could also be legit, they're legal, they actually have really strict legal requirements. I didn't know if you knew this, but like most companies will not publicly tell you how much their sales reps are making. However, network marketing companies are required by law to disclose that. So many people will say stuff like, oh, nobody at MLMs makes money. If we were to get really real here and talk about how many people are making money as bloggers, as content creators on Instagram, as YouTubers, right? If we were to take all of the metadata of all of the people who are doing stuff on these platforms, and then out of those many people, how many are making any money? And then out of those people who are making money, how many are making real take-home money? That number would be a very small percentage too, but people are not ready to hear that. Maybe eventually things will change. But if you're still here, if you're still watching or listening at this point, then you're ready for that. So I want you to know what the odds are. If you are joining a travel agency that is partnered with an MLM, you need to be clear with the questions to ask, because maybe you actually do like the idea of network marketing and MLM, which cool. Or maybe you don't even know really what it is, and so you're open to it. Just make sure that you ask about that when someone is asking you. If you know that you definitely do not want to build a team, you don't want to do anything else except really focus on selling travel, then you need to make sure that whoever is selling you the license is only selling you the license, because this is something else that people will do and it's shady. They'll tell you a price, and that will include both the travel agency part and then also this other company, network marketing. The person who doesn't want to do network marketing is then forced to become a network marketer when they really didn't want to be. And that's one of those things that, again, make people hate MLM and network marketing. So the model in itself is honestly fine. It's just people making money by referring things to each other. At least it is with me, because I don't care. But what is not fine is when people don't understand, when they haven't been told ethically and truly and transparently what it is they're signing up for and how the person signing them up is making money. Those things need to be made clear. And that is, I guess, the bone I have to pick with the industry. But it does mean that you have other ways to make money. If you are someone who, especially in your audience, maybe you have a bunch of budget travelers, and maybe even one thing that keeps coming up for you, one reason that you haven't become a travel agent yet, is you're thinking, these people are not going to book travel with me. They like budget travel. Maybe you're a blogger, you're an influencer, you're a content creator, and you're like, I just don't think I have enough people in my audience who are going to book these trips for thousands of dollars with me. That could be true, right? That could be possibly true. In that case, joining an MLM travel agency might actually work for you, or one that's partnered with an MLM. Because even if you don't want to build a team, if you have the opportunity to help them become travel agents, you might be able to get paid both when they become an agent themselves, and then maybe you could even earn a portion of the commission that they would make, like a match. Because that's, by the way, very normal in any agency. There's always a company that's making money for the referral. Usually this is Expedia or Booking, so you can monetize the trips you book for people, your own trips, helping other people become travel agents, and anyone else who does want to build a team with you, if that's what you decide to do. So again, you get all these different income streams. Whereas if you did not join an MLM agency or you did not do any of that team building, then that's not an option to you. But that might not be a con if you don't want to. So again, it really comes down to knowing yourself and knowing the people you're serving and thinking about what's going to work best for you. This is the big pro though, that most people discount with MLMs and network marketing, and that is the built-in support, okay? I have so many feelings about marketing and doing it ethically, but one big thing I will say that MLM agencies have that the others don't is the network and the community. If you want to find someone who has sold millions of dollars in cruises, you can find them and they're accessible to you. They're not going to charge you for a coaching fee. They're not going to charge you for a coaching call if you're both in the same organization. They're not going to charge you for a course. They're not going to charge you for a digital download. They're not going to do that because they are in the same community as you. They have the same goals as you. There's a lot more give and take. So I think that is something that helps people, especially if just the person that you are, that you're going to need more support, more hand-holding, you're going to need more one-on-one attention that you just won't get if you join a big host travel agency. They're not really concerned with mentoring you one-on-one because that's not their priority. Their priority is keeping their customers happy, which is the tour companies, which is the hotel companies. They care about sales. And that's okay because they're in a business, just like how you're going to be in a business too, or you already are working in travel. But it is something to know. Do you want to work by yourself? Do you want to be a lone wolf? You do things on your own time, but you have nobody to ask questions for, and you're just going to figure everything out yourself. You're good at tech. You can figure out systems quickly. Then maybe you don't need a team. You don't need a mentor. You don't need a coach. But if you do, then I would highly recommend don't count out the MLM host travel agency model, because that might be actually what you need. But we can't not talk about the cons, so let's go there now. MLM travel agencies have their downsides too, of course. And I already mentioned this, but the focus can be heavily leaning towards building a team, towards the actual network marketing and multi-level marketing parts of it, than actually selling travel. And so if you want to be a travel agent and you happen to join a person, because again, this is going to vary not only from agency to agency, but also within the team, which specific person are you signing up with? That's why you need to ask these questions, not only about the agency, which is probably where you started because that's how you landed on my video, but of the actual individual you're talking to. Do they have a track record of success? Do they care about helping you sell travel? And if not, you need to work with somebody else, okay? Full stop. So if their focus is on building a team and you do not want to do that, that would not be a good match for you. You will probably be frustrated because you would have signed on with them and they will be unavailable. They won't be willing to meet with you, or when they do meet with you, they won't have the answers anyway, especially if they're from another country. So do consider that. If you are American, for example, and you have an upline who's from the UK, nothing wrong with the UK. I love agents in the UK, but they're not going to know the systems as well as in the States. Just like if I had someone coming from the United Kingdom and they were asking me, now I actually do know a bit because I've researched, but of course I'm not going to know their systems as well as a British agent, right? That's just the truth. So you need to be asking questions not only about the agency that you're looking to sign on with, but about the person specifically you're going to be working with, because that will make the bigger difference. What community support does that person have for you? The income structure can also be really confusing. That's probably why you're here, right? You're confused. What even is MLM and why is this different? If you are interested in other income streams, or you're a ham like me personality wise, and you're like, actually, I do have other people who might want to become travel agents. I'll tell you, I have a Facebook group of several thousand teachers. I knew that I had people who wanted to come on group trips with me. That's why I became a travel agent. I knew I wanted to focus on group trips and basically have a de facto tour company. But I also knew, just knowing teachers, because I've been a teacher, not every teacher in my audience is going to be able to afford these trips. And also, teachers are smart and they're organized. So they figured out pretty quickly, wait a minute, if I become the travel agent, I can go on these trips myself and get the agent discount or get the commissions back, or I can just do that as a side hustle for other people. Actually, no, I want to be the agent. I don't want to book with you. And that was fine with me because I made the decision to join a host travel agency that gives me the ability to sign people up with an affiliate link. And then I tell them it's not about building a team or anything. It's you become an agent, you do well, I'm here to answer your questions if you need it. And that's why I built the whole mentorship, to help people who want to become travel agents, but that can't afford to pay for courses and memberships and all these things every month because they're already paying for the host travel agency. So I tell people, and I'm telling you, if you're still watching at this point and you're interested in becoming a travel agent, come work with me and my team. We'll help you. There really is true mentorship, and you're not just getting it from me. Of course, it'll be a lot of me at first, but then eventually you'll get more of the actual community, and you might even find somebody in the community you connect with better than me, and that's totally okay. There's no gatekeeping in my groups. Our group chat has people helping people all the time. There's one girl in there specifically. She makes $5,000 to $6,000 every couple of months from doing destination weddings. Another who makes $2,000 to $3,000 a month from cruises. Another one in there who does group trips. So every couple of months she's getting these checks for like $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000. This is real, okay? You can make really good money doing this, even if you're not doing MLM, even if you're not doing affiliate marketing, but it really matters who you work with, no matter what the host travel agency experience is. Honestly, even if it's not an MLM host travel agency, you need to ask the question of how much support are you going to get once you get started, because so many will ghost you once you're actually signed on, unfortunately. Another problem though is because of this happening, some MLM host travel agencies can have a reputation problem, and this can be problematic down the road if there are certain things you want to pursue, or maybe even if you just want to go on certain fam trips or for certain memberships, and then you find that your host travel agency isn't allowed because they did some shady stuff in the past. So make sure that you do search for your host travel agency. Host Agency Reviews is an amazing website. Highly recommend checking them. And don't just check there, right? Because there's bias everywhere. Check it multiple sources. Ask around. Ask in other travel agent Facebook groups. Do it anonymously if you don't want any pushback, okay? Ask questions. Use the comment section here. Ask questions, right? If you don't want to get just my opinion, I'm totally biased, right? I just told you my takes on that. But you need to to know what is going to work for you at the end of the day, because that's what matters. So my biggest takeaway is it does work for many people, but it might not work for you. And that, I think, is another big lie I've heard a lot from people who are helping people become travel agents, people who are recruiting, people who are heavy in MLM and network marketing, and even just affiliate marketers who are a little more aggressive, is they'll tell everybody that everybody should become a travel agent or that everybody should work in MLM. And I do not believe that. I think you need a soul search. You need to know yourself. That self-awareness is always going to be the best asset you have. And ask yourself, honestly, how do you want to make money? How much do you really want to sell and do marketing? Because you're definitely going to do that anyway if you're a travel agent. But if you're going to be an affiliate marketer and lean heavily into helping people become travel agents, or if you're going to build a team of other network marketers, that is going to be even heavier into sales and marketing. And I think sales is an epic skill you can learn, because even if you don't do that forever, you can move on to other things later. I tell people being a travel agent doesn't have to be the only or the main thing you do. It's not the only thing I do. And I still earn several hundred or thousand a month, almost passively at this point, although I don't like saying passively because for most people it's not going to be passive. Just because of the commission matches I've done from group trips months ago, I'm getting paid that money now. So for me, it's like a really fun side hustle. Only just now am I starting to make videos and resources for you all. So here are the questions to ask before you join. Definitely write these down, add this video to your playlist so you can come back later. Just make sure you have them saved somewhere, and I will also put them down below in the description, but if for some reason I forget, someone do me a solid, put them in the comments. What is the commission split for this host travel agency? Is this host travel agency an MLM? Or if this host travel agency is not an MLM, do they partner with one? If so, what does that partnership look like? Am I required to build a team if I sign up? Do I have the option to not build a team if I sign up? Do I have the option of only signing on for the host travel agency? What is the difference in cost versus if I decide to do the MLM part? What kind of training and support do I get if I become a travel agent through your host agency? And then what travel and support do you offer specifically? Will I be required or pushed to recruit? Are there any sales quotas or minimums? Does the amount I pay for my membership or my dues change based on how many travel sales or recruits I have? Because that's something that some agencies do too. What do successful agents in this program actually do? And one of the most important questions, the money that you've talked about people making, is this coming from people actually selling travel, or is this coming from people selling the opportunity? And then once you have that information, then you can make a decision. Maybe I want to do both. Maybe I want to be a travel agent and a network marketer. Maybe you'll decide that network marketing is more for you because you like the idea of residual income. There's no wrong answer, and I know some people will say I'm anti-MLM, MLM shouldn't exist. I'm pro personal freedom, and I think people should be able to do what they want, but I do believe that people should have integrity and be honest and ethical about what those options are. So I hope this video helped you today. Big picture, I would say that an MLM host travel agency is going to work best for somebody who likes the community networking environment. I often tell people, if you like the sorority vibe, then usually MLM host travel agencies work really well for you. I was not a sorority person, even though I do love traveling with my girlfriends and stuff. Even though I do like that, I tell everybody that my community is like all the nice girls next door. Like, we really are the nice girl crew, but every team has a different vibe. That's why you got to know the person, especially if you're going to do MLM, but just in general, who your mentor is going to be. And this is a tip for anybody who wants to become a travel agent. As far as what you need to do to be successful, whether you join an MLM host travel agency or otherwise, you need to have a certain level of self-motivation. And that is true no matter what the structure is, okay? Because if you are not self-motivated, then you will always be looking for external factors, for external reasons why you are or are not making it. And it is so easy. This is another reason that people will not like this video. So many people I've seen leave reviews about MLM agencies specifically and say, it doesn't work, such a scam, I didn't make any money. Let's talk about that for a second. If I got a gym membership and I never went, 6 months, would I be able to call that gym a scam? Did they not provide products, service, space to work? If I didn't go, then I have to take ownership over what my part was in my success or my lack of success. So if I could impart anything to you, it would be just to really think about that no matter which route you choose, because you might decide you're anti-MLM and say, no, I'm not going to do that. You have to have a certain level of inner drive, your really strong why as to why you want to be a travel agent, why specifically this path is calling to you to be successful. I have some other resources along with the questions I just read out in the description to help you decide. I'll also have other videos linked there if you want to learn more about this. Again, my name is Brittany. I'm the founder of Travel Agent Haven as well as travel agent myself. I really do have the most safe and supportive community for travel agents on the internet. I'm really proud of that. And if you want to get more videos like this where it's a kind but real look at how things are, then I would love it if you'd subscribe, or either way, like this video so that YouTube knows to send it out to more people who need it. And what questions do you have? Drop them in the comments, please. No mean comments. But if you do have a genuine question that maybe you don't want to ask in public, because I totally get this is a touchy subject, and that's the reason I made this video, is because I got so many questions privately about this. If you want to expand on something or ask something more specific that's unique to you, you can also send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven, and I'm happy to answer your questions. If it's a longer thing, we might get on a call, but honestly, I can answer a lot of questions in the DMs, so feel free to reach out to me then. If you want to become a travel agent and work with my team, I've helped so many people become truly successful travel agents. So whether or not you want to build a brand, be a content creator, do travel influencer stuff, get into network marketing, like, you really get to choose your own adventure here. If you have any questions about that, you can find more info on that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.